Welcome back to a high-level match of StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is a best-of-7 series of top-level Terran versus Zerg, where in game number 1 we find ourselves on the map Moondance. Spawning right here in the top left-hand corner, playing with the blue Terran SCVs, we have the strongest player from South Korea, and his name is Maru. His opponent in the opposite corner, the current rank 2 from South Korea, with the red Zerg drones, we're looking at Dark's main base. Alrighty, so Dark versus Maru in a best-of-7 series. This particular series is the grand finals of the AfreecaTV Champions Cup. As we'll be making this video, this tournament wrapped up just a couple of days ago, although I'm not entirely sure exactly when I'll be publishing this video. Either way, I'm excited to find out exactly what ended up going down between these players. I'm actually currently in the process of preparing some videos in advance, because I'll be flying out to DreamHack Atlanta pretty soon. Well, next week, and yeah, I'll be casting the StarCraft 2 section of that event. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But because of that, I of course don't want to leave you guys without any content to watch. I am prepping some content in advance, and I figured this is probably a series that a lot of you are interested to see. So this is a $15,000 tournament. The AfreecaTV Champions Cup, that is. DreamHack Atlanta is quite a bit bigger than that, but there's no denying that there's a lot of money on the line, and for an online tournament, I can guarantee you that both of these players are gonna try and bring their A game. Now, Maru is gonna go for a cheeky little opener over here with a double barracks inside of his own natural. Normally, I wouldn't be the biggest fan of this because it doesn't really make a lot of sense. I think it, yeah, is quite a bit stronger if you build it right out here, for example. But one thing that we've seen Dark do quite a bit over the last couple of months is go for a lot of early game spawning pools, where he goes for a quick Roach Warren, for example, as a follow-up, and he tries to win the game straight up. Obviously, Maru right now shows his opponent in game number 1 that, hey, I made a wall off early on. I'm producing out of 2 barracks already. You're gonna be in a lot of trouble if you decide to do that build in one of the upcoming games instead. So even though this is a little bit of a commitment from Maru, and I honestly don't think he's gonna be able to get too much done with the Reapers, and he's still pumping out 2 of them at once. I mean, still, I guess. Is he gonna continue? How many Reapers is he gonna make? No, okay. This makes a lot of sense, actually. So it's just gonna be 3 of those Reapers for now, and he's not gonna commit too hard into it. One of the problems you run into here is that eventually Zergling speed will be done, right? And usually one of the advantages of building those Reapers closer to the Zerg side of the map is that you can deal more damage before that link speed is finished. But as soon as that upgrade is done, the Reapers usually get shut down pretty hard. So I actually kind of like the commitment of only 3 of those Reapers here in total, just to harass the Zerg a little bit. And if there would have been early game shenanigans right here from Dark, Maru would have been able to shut that down pretty easily. Okay. Yeah, Queens at this point are out. Perfect positioning here from Dark. He's gonna finish up that metabolic boost upgrade here in just a second. That being said, the Marines have been tasked together with the barracks here to try and gun down that Overlord. Yeah, metabolic boost is finishing up very soon. He is gonna go after the Overlord, but honestly that was a little bit risky, because there's no way that those Marines are gonna be home in time, right? Reapers are still on the other side of the map as well. No, dude, those Marines, they're gonna go down for sure. Ooh. He tried getting a Zergling right on top of that supply depot as well. And this is a problem. I wanted to bring this up. There is a little bit of RNG in StarCraft 2. You can't, for example, choose your spawn location, and you also cannot choose the location of the attachments to any of those Terran structures. So imagine right now, Maru would have spawned on the other side of the map. He would have built the barracks over here. The tech lab and the reactor that he just ended up losing, that he's now rebuilding, they would have popped up on the safe side of the wall instead. So right now, this is going to be very exposed. And this is probably the main reason why we don't normally see this sort of opener from these spawn locations. It's actually kind of rough. I mean, even if Dark just commits a small group of Zerglings, he's going to probably lose them all to the units that are on the other side of the wall. But if you can just deny that tech lab upgrade, yeah, here come the Zerglings. I think that's well worth losing a bunch of Zerglings for. I mean, it doesn't have to do it right now, but there you go. That is 100% worth it. Any follow-up that Maru wants to go for hinges on that Stimpack research. It's a long upgrade, it takes forever. And if you don't get it done nice and early, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble. Your mid-game attacks will just be slowed down so much. Anyhow, Banshee production here inside of the main base of Maru. There's actually, okay. Dark wanted to go, I think that was an Evo chamber. He wanted to go and play a macro game, but he now decides to go for the straight up bailing nest here instead. Reaper, trying to get some work done. But after denying that Stimpak upgrade, I guess he just wants to continuously, send Lings out onto the map and potentially even win the game coming up in just a moment or two. Now the Banshee, okay, it does see the Zerglings, but obviously the Zerglings also see the Banshee. There wasn't any, spore crawler production just yet, so one of the spores is coming up. Once again, Stimpak in a lot of trouble. And this is going from bad to worse right now for Maru. Yeah, that upgrade is never going to finish at this rate. A couple more drones do come up, but honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing Dark just commit to a bailing bust. Bailing busts aren't very popular in the current meta of StarCraft 2, but there are certainly opportunities where I think is very good. And honestly, against fully unupgraded Marines, what exactly is Maru going to be able to do against those Banes? Okay. So I liked the strategic idea behind it, but I think if we would have done this in a different spawn location, it would have worked out a whole lot better. Well, they're not even gonna go after the Stimpak research this time around. Instead, Dark decides to just bust straight through that Terran wall. Is there enough for the Zerg to obtain the victory right here, right now? Obviously, there's no wall here on the top of the main ramp because, well, he decided to go straight for the low ground. 18 SCVs have already gone down, and that, I believe, justifies his attack quite nicely. Now, good splits right there by Maru, trying to negate as much of that splash damage as possible. Stimpak once more got denied. Even the +1/+1 upgrades are not safe here. Banshees were forced to come all the way back home to try and, well, to help out with the defense there too, but this is not a particularly good situation right here for Maru. Once more! Maru, it's not gonna happen, mate. Okay, now he decides to go double tech lab? Fair, I guess? So Stimpak and combat shield? Yeah. Would have not minded seeing those additional add-ons coming up over here instead, and maybe a couple of reactors out front, but anyhow, yep, that's the only amount of RNG that we really see. I guess there's also, there's a little bit of RNG also in where those Terran units are when they are building structures, right? But in general, there's not a lot of randomness in SC2. It's not quite chess levels, I suppose, of straightforwardness, but that is unfortunate. I've actually never quite understood why you can't choose where your add-ons would pop up. It's kind of an unnecessary bit of RNG, right? Kind of feel like that's one of those things that Blizzard once upon a time intended on implementing, but they just never got around to it. Anyhow. Bailing Nest is now researching the centrifugal hooks upgrade. That is the bailing speed. It requires to, well, you're required to have a lair out, but Dark at this point is feeling nice and comfortable. And in order to justify all of this, Maru is going to have to kill a full base worth. And I just don't see how he's going to be able to pull that off. That being said, I don't really want to do the caster thing, but this is not necessarily the worst of positions here for Maru either. Like, sure, he lost a ton of workers, but he kept the majority of his army alive, and it wasn't cheap for Dark to go for that attack either. So this is now a complete all-in right here from the South Korean Terran player, but there is a chance. If Dark overdrones on the back of this, and honestly, he's at 79 workers, that is incredibly greedy. He's going for a lot of additional tech here. He's got a lot of money caught up in things that aren't very useful yet. There might just be a chance. That would be ridiculous. Yeah, Dark's playing a very greedy game as a follow-up right now, okay. Is there enough for the Zerg to clean all of this up? He might just have to give up this base. He's making a ton of Zerglings at once. Queens are all over at the front, obviously, as well right now, so they're not injecting bases. Meaning that there's not going to be that much larva on the back of this. Oh my god, no way, Maru. Dark's a greedy boy. Dark is a greedy boy. There's still triple CC production out of Maru, of course. Okay, I did not expect that. All Dark needed to do was just sit at like 70 workers for a while. I don't know why he decided to make that many drones and that much tech. Maybe he assumed that Maru was just going to play a macro game on the back of it, although I think that is a pretty significant miscalculation. That being said, brilliant decision making right here from Maru, who does obtain the victory. That was not supposed to happen. All that Dark really needed to do was stop droning at an appropriate time. I would imagine probably the amount of workers that your opponent could have. So 66 on 3 base. And I guess on that map actually not quite 66. But I think about 70 drones would have been good. And then after that, as a follow-up, you just make non-stop Zergling Baneling because you're essentially forcing your opponent into an all-in. Instead, Dark decided to go for an additional hatchery. He made an infestation pit, double upgrades, Hydra Den. Yeah, it was just a little bit too much. Anyways, Maru probably did not expect to win with that attack either, but yeah, he did an excellent job defending against the Banelings at home. Despite all of the SCV losses, he kept the majority of his army alive, and even though the stim pack and the combat shields were super late, as long as they finish up once, you're obviously gonna have them for the remainder of the game. Anyhow, next up, we find ourselves on Data C. This is very much so the mental game that we're playing right now as well, right? So Dark probably not too bothered by it because he's been playing this game for a long time and stupid mistakes do happen, but I would personally be a little bit triggered if I was Dark. Would not be enjoying that all too much. He gets that. Yep, he gets that. Nicely done. Maru rubbing salt in the wound that Dark created for himself. Not the smartest of decisions, but it happens. Alright. Brenda? Brenda? Brenda, you're supposed to inject! Oh no, Dark is falling apart. Ugh. This is an ugly first couple minutes right here for Dark. Yeah, the last 5 minutes of Dark gameplay have not been quite as good as you'd like to see. Okay. So, what's the follow-up from Maru going to be? It's that classical triple CC opener. Obviously, Data C is usually a pretty macro-focused map. Lovely grenade over there as well, by the way. You wanted to poke into the opponent's natural expansion to see if there was like a roach warren or something hiding behind the mineral line, but the second queen had already wandered down as well. That grenade right there, booping Brenda sideways, off creep, would have given him quite a bit of time. Oof. Damn. Queens have got some power behind those spines, huh? Anyways, maybe he hit the fuel tank right there of the Reaper just right. You know what? Maybe scouting would not have been a terrible idea, though, because there is indeed a roach horde coming up. How many gases do we have? Second gas finishing up at this point for Dark. He'll probably want to saturate that as soon as possible. Yep, there we go. Dark is planning on obtaining the victory here within the next couple of minutes. But again, this is something that needs to deal critical amounts of damage, because otherwise it is just not worth it. Even if you kill 20 SCVs at this point in the game, triple command center mule production is insanely powerful. And considering the fact that we do already have a Liberator and all that coming up, I don't know if this is going to be too great. Now, a Liberator is not quite as nice as a Banshee here. So, no blind Banshee after the triple CC, which, yeah, is a little bit greedy. This is a bit of an older version of this build. We don't really see this one all too often anymore, but... Anyhow, roaches are coming up in just a moment. Link speed is not quite done yet, but it's going to finish up very soon as well. We don't have a Baneling Nest or anything like that, so it's going to be a Roach Ravager, and then I think Zerglings on the back of this as well. Yeah, so it's going to be Zerglings on the back of this, and then he's going to morph in Ravagers when he gets closer to the opponent's side of the map with all of the gas that he's got left over. It's 3 Corrosive Biles for a Liberator, so he will want to aim for at least 3 of those Ravagers to be able to shut that down. But look at that Stimpack research, though. It's taken away. This time around, it's going to finish up at an appropriate time. And I do feel like it's going to finish up pretty soon here. That does mean that... Well, actually, it's only 3 Marines at this point. Anyways, that does mean that Maru technically should have quite a few tools available to deal with this Zerg all-in. Because that's what it is. If Dark does not kill a very substantial amount of economy, he's going to fall behind very rapidly. SCV's already pulled away. He's not really making that many units. He's really focused on add-ons right now, which makes this all the while a little bit more scary. Excellent position, though, right there on those SCVs. They soak up a lot of damage, but they gave up a lot of firepower as well to those Hellions. And honestly, this is stellar defense. A lot more links coming up on the back of this. Low HP Roaches get morphed into Ravagers, so at the very least, they're going to be able to stay alive for a little bit longer. Dark can't stop cheesing in this series so far, but... is this really the right situation to be in? He can't really step forward very well. Okay, well, he's gonna have to. Corrosive Biles? No, no, no. That's not where you want to siege up that Liberator. Okay, he sieged into the Corrosive Biles. I don't think that's ideal, but... Maru, we really need to produce our units, though. Like, we're not producing out of some of those structures, which makes this defense significantly harder, and it may actually just allow Dark to barely tiptoe in favor here. He's still not producing out of some of those structures. Finally, a siege tank is coming up, but that is much later. He's been having the resources for that for quite a while. SCVs right now evacuated into the main base, but Dark is not stopping to try and kill that command center or any of these upgrades. He wants to win this game. He's not here to try and slow down the Terran. He is here to obtain the victory right here, right now. Corrosive Biles raining on top of all of those SCVs. The set positioning right there of that factory is also not quite ideal, because where is that, well, siege tank gonna pop out? Honestly, it should have popped out a little while ago. But there it is. And it's dead. Oh, never mind. Maru managed to snatch it. Not quite enough. GG is called, and game number 2 goes in favor of Dark. Alright, so we've had 2 games so far where I feel like the outcome should have been flipped. Anyhow, game number 3 takes place on the map Waterfall, and Maru is once again opting to go for the double barracks right here in his own natural expo. In the previous game, though, Maru decided to go for the triple CC opener, which I think is fantastic. But I do think you're taking a risk if you're opening up triple CC without Banshees, right? So one of the problems you run into is those roach openers. Like, imagine if instead of a Liberator in that game, the Liberator already did a lot, but imagine there would have been a Banshee instead. I mean, that Banshee would have just continuously dealt damage, and usually when there's one Banshee, there's going to be a second one as well. 2 Banshee would have 100% shut that down, and at that point, Dark would have been in a lot of trouble, so... Yeah, both players cutting corners, trying to outsmart the opponent, and so far, even though things are flipped upside down, the score has been evened up. I'm not sure about the double Reaper opener on Waterfall, though. So Waterfall does have a very quick rush distance from natural to natural, so that's nice. You're gonna be able to get across pretty quickly, but it's not like Dark, yeah, struggled particularly much against his build order in the previous game. Anyways, I guess 2 games ago. I'm assuming it's once again gonna be 3 Reapers and then into Marines. This time around, the Overlord. He knows what happened to his brother. The Overlord is hiding on the right side of the map instead. Not ready to take any of those bullets to the face. You'll probably send that Overlord in, though, in about a minute or so from now. 3:45 to 4 minutes is the normal scout timing on that OV, and it'll probably try to figure out exactly what's happening inside of that main base of the Terran. Okay. Okay. Nice. A little bit of micro. All these Reapers should stay alive. Yeah, Zerglings were ready for the wraparound, and they are going to be able to get at least one of those Reapers, but not enough to kill them all. So what's the follow-up going to be? Well, would you look at that? There's the tech lab and the reactor. I believe that this time around, this is a little bit safer, yeah. Dark probably sitting there with a smile on his face as well. Remember the good times, Maru? Maru's like, no, I don't like it. So last time he decided to go for a pretty quick Banshee as a follow-up too, but that may have been a response to, well, losing the tech lab over and over and over again. Honestly, this looks very Banelingable as well, though, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Dark. There are still 2 areas here that are very susceptible to Banes, and there's no way that Maru is gonna be walling to both of them. I don't think Dark wants to cheese every game in this series. But this is, like, I look at this too, right? I'm also a Zerg player. Whenever I see Protoss, for example, making a pylon part of their wall off, the first thing that goes through my mind is a Baneling Nest. I can't help myself, okay? If you're gonna leave an obvious vulnerability, it almost is begging to be exploited over here, and you're either gonna blow up the reactor or the supply depot, but both are pretty great. It's gonna be at least 5 minutes of in-game time until the Stimpack research is done, so if you can get there before that point, life is pretty great. We do have to go pretty quick, though. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Stimpack is not gonna be finished for another minute or so, so... Dark is reading his opponent like a book, microing against those scouting Reapers brilliantly, so at this point, Maru does not know. Now you will see additional Zerglings going across the map, but it might already be a little bit too late. This is not the time, Maru! Woo! Okay, Maru was thinking about... Yeah, you know what? That might actually be okay. Yeah, you know what? That might actually just be okay. Good pickup right there with that medevac as well. These guys take so many risks. Well, these SCVs, they're also in a little bit of trouble. No, that's greed. He wants to go after these, but no. The tech lab also ends up staying alive, and so does that reactor. Okay. Massive corners are being cut. Mind games are being played left, right, and center. But this little attack right here from Maru is going to be a very dangerous one. I mean, Dark may be able to defend it, right? He's making a bunch of banelings right now, but if you look at the worker count, 42 versus 30. At this point in the game, Zerg is the one that's supposed to have that 12 worker lead, and well, this is gonna be a bit of a scary attack. Still, banelings? Okay, banelings get on top of all of those. Yeah, he cleans that up easy peasy, and he is gonna start droning pretty hard. Don't start cheering for Maru too early, because we've already seen how this series does not go the way you expect it to. I'd be very surprised if Maru ends up losing this, but there certainly is a chance. Dark is actually gonna go for a Roach Warren right now, while simultaneously, once again, yeah, not teching up, not getting any spores. He's saying, yo, if there would be any sort of Banshee Liberator play, there's nothing I can do about it, but one thing I can do is go for another wave of an all-in, and I think that's the plan. He'll probably start up one more Overlord here, I would imagine. Okay, just one? I don't think that's gonna be enough. Anyhow, he'll probably try to go for a big round of roaches here in just a moment and try to see if he could maybe hit his opponent in the face when he least expects it. Quadruple Widowmine drop coming over to the third base. It's important now for Maru, though, that he does not overestimate his advantage and do the thing that we saw Dark doing earlier, where he techs up and he spends all of his money on things that aren't particularly useful. Getting the Overlord would actually be good. Okay, he's getting 1-1 upgrades. He's going into tech labs and reactors and all that. Third CC at this point is done. I mean, this has to be a follow-up all-in here from Dark. So Dark does not have a lair, which means he does not have Baneling speed, he does not have Roach speed, he doesn't have anything to really deal with any of this. So I think what he wants to do is just defend against all of this shenanigans. And he's doing a pretty good job not losing workers, but honestly his economy has been shut down here for a very long time. Yeah. Anyways, I think he probably plans on just making a lot of units and then going across the map and crossing his fingers hoping he's gonna have enough. But Maru is doing an excellent job buying time with his drop shenanigans of his, trading out to the best of his abilities, a couple of Reapers from the early game. Still inside of those medeffects too. Now, one thing that Maru needs to not do is split up his army enough so that everything is in charge of protecting the orbital command. This siege tank is going to be really hard to break. Anyways, Dark finally making himself up for the attack. He's saying, I know that I'm probably going to lose, but I'm not ready to GG just yet. There is, of course, a chance that I'm going to be able to put all my eggs in one basket and somehow make it across with minimum losses. Okay, now Maru knows exactly what he's going up against as well. Fighting in the middle of the map too. That's super greedy. That Reaper grenade was actually amazing. Still though, this is a pretty far and extended Terran army, but I think it's enough. Yeah, GG. Alright, next up, we find ourselves on Cosmic Sapphire. In case you're unfamiliar, maybe you just stumbled upon this video. Both Maru and Dark are some of the very best late game players that we have in StarCraft 2. Like, these guys are constantly going at each other's throats in this series so far. But they're actually, I would say that Maru is probably the scariest late game Terran that we have. And Dark may very well rival Serral with his late game unit control. We've seen him play some excellent games of late game Zerg with all of that spellcaster control over the last couple of months. But these two, they have a little bit too much history. Maybe a little bit too much respect for the other guy as well. Maybe they're even a little bit worried about the other guy too, right? About their late game control. So they have been going at each other's throats the entire time long, and they're trying to end this game early, but I'm hoping we're gonna get at least one nice long macro game in this series as well. That would be nice. Cosmic Sapphire certainly has that potential. It's got a lot of bases. You've got, of course, the golden minerals as well on the bottom left. Always enticing, but so far this series has not seen any opportunity for any of these players to mine those juicy golden mineral fields. It's a quick 1-1-1. I would love to see a tech lab on this barracks to then do the grand switcheroo with the starport and actually make a blind Banshee, like I was talking about at the beginning of the previous map on waterfall. I think it's just the smartest way of doing it. There we go. Just open up with a blind Banshee. That way you're going to be safe against, well, assuming you micro it half decently, which I think we can see Maru do very comfortably. But he should be able to defend against those roach pushes pretty easily. And so far, it would have been nice anyways. Now he goes Viking again. No! We're supposed to cancel the... okay then. Maybe he'll still switch it over in just a moment. So risky though. Because at this point he doesn't know anything, right? Like, again, for all he knows, I mean, he's seen that there wasn't a lair. But for all he knows, there could be a roach warren or a baneling nest or something along those lines. Right over there hiding in the dark spaces of that Zerg base. The structures finish up pretty quick as well. No, we're once again gonna go Liberator. This is something we saw a lot about a year or two ago in StarCraft 2. So we saw a lot of Liberator play. And then Zerg started going for a lot of roach pushes. And then, well, Terrans responded by going for a lot of Banshees again. Maybe Zergs are now very comfortable going up against the Banshees, but no longer as comfortable playing against the Liberators. Either that or these guys are just mixing it up, trying to keep the opponent guessing all of the time. Okay. So this is all normal. In case you're wondering what a normal game of StarCraft 2 looks like, this is it. The Viking is, of course, very nice if you want to play a normal game, because you can push back those overlords that provide the vision that those Hellions would normally drive through. I'm expecting a baneling nest coming up here in just a moment as well for Dark. Yep, there it is. And he's also going for a bunch of spore crawlers to deal with that Liberator play. He delayed the spores a little bit from the conventional timing, because he did see a Viking first, so delayed that for about an additional 20 seconds just to try and be as safe as possible. Obviously optimizes mining. Look at that. Timing here is brilliant. Spore Crawler finishes right around the same time as Liberator arrives on the other side of the map. Beautiful. This is the type of control that you want to see in your bases. At the same time, though, I don't know about this, Maru. There's enough energy here for the queens as well. There are two groups of queens, so maybe that's why Maru decided to at least attempt running by the units, but yeah, this is where that Overlord has been quite nice, right? So the Overlords have been pushed back. That Viking has done a good job. No vision over here in the middle of the map, so Maru can be hidden at least for a little bit when it comes to that Hellion control. If there wasn't a Viking out, there would have definitely been Overlords around the perimeter of the creep to see all of those incoming medevacs. Where'd the, did the Liberator die? Oh, the Liberator did die. That's a bit of a shame. Okay. Must have been sieged up within a Spore Crawler range or maybe a couple of queens. Good situation right here, though, for Dark. Let me actually flip the scoreboard upside down. There you go. For some reason, I did the thing, the pet peeve that I've got myself, where I had the player that spawned in the bottom of the map at the top of the scoreboard. It's horrible, man. I'm sorry that I did that to you guys. Anyways, I fixed it now, though. You can watch again. You can open your eyes. Maru's gonna start picking up the pace. Medevac drops, heading into multiple directions, and we've got the Hellions, of course, on the other side of the map. Already, though, Dark is going to go into the infestation pit. One thing I've seen Dark do in the past is blindly make 2 infestors in this sort of scenario before going into a hive, which is actually kind of cool. So he goes like 2 infestors as soon as he's got an infestation pit, and then like 2 vipers as soon as he's got a hive. Most players don't do it like that, but I actually... yeah, I've seen a lot of good moves coming out of those infestors, so that was about, I don't know, like maybe half a year ago or so that I've last seen Dark do that. I was wondering if that is still something he likes to incorporate in a normal game, but very few of his games seem to be quote-unquote normal lately. Anyhow. Nothing just yet. Maru coming across right now. He's going to finish up the 4th command center in just a little bit. It's delayed, of course, compared to the Zerg's 4th base, but still in a pretty fantastic time. That Zerg hatchery is mining on the left side of the map. Maru was thinking about going for a push, but he decided to back off once again. 2-2 starts up right as 1-1 finishes. In the meantime, on the other side of the map, we should see similar things here as well for Dark. He's going to finish up 1-1. Are we going to see 2-2 right away? Well, at this point, he doesn't have the gas for it. So he just made 34 banelings. Wait, really? Wait, really? Another baneling bust? Okay, let's do it. I don't know if it's a good idea, but you know what? I'm here for it. There's a lot more units over there on the other side of the map, too. Dark is wanting to collapse on top of his army once again. He's going to be able to get rid of all of these units here that are out at the front. There is a Widowmine over here ready to defend against this, but no retargeting there from Maru. The Netro is wide open. Zerglings in the meantime are winning the fight on the right side of the map, too. Banelings are now rolling into the natural middle line, and those units are so clumped up. That is 24 SCVs going down in just a heartbeat, and that's not the end of it just yet. Make it 44, 45, 46, 47 for the man in the back, 48. If this whole YouTube creation thing does not work out, I guess I can become an auctioneer or something. Auctioneer? Auctionator? Auctionunner. Yes, that's it. 100%. That last one. Okay. Hey, Dark, he can't stop cheesing. That's your second infestation pit. I was wondering if maybe he canceled the first one, but no. Accidentally going for his second infestation pit. 2-2 upgrades are now started up as well, and we see the Hydra then. Yeah, I guess Dark knows Maru a little too well. Maru clearly has some holes in his play that may need patching up here, but... Beautiful moves. Very significant lead right now for the Zerg. These guys are going back and forth. Is this forcing Maru into a 4-base all-in? I don't think so, not necessarily. But this is not really a great position for him to play a late game from either, right? Like, obviously he can try and claw himself back into this game, but against someone of Dark's caliber, it's going to be really hard to pull that off. I mean, if he was playing against me, easy, not a problem. But against Dark, it's going to be real hard. So he's trying to do so right now with some medevac drops and trying to hit his opponent at a couple different angles at once, slow down the Zerg, but so far that's not really happening. And Dark is outgrowing the Terran pretty hard right now. He's going into a hive. Would have loved to see that one start up a couple minutes ago, but fair enough. I think there's probably going to be another attack here from Dark as soon as 2-2 finishes, which is very soon. At least it would be a good moment for it. He could go for a Lurker Den as well and play it passively instead, which, again, also a good opportunity. The one thing, though, that I do like here for Maru is the 3-3 upgrades. So the Zerg ones cannot start up until the hive is done. So quite a significant lead there, but there's a huge army here for Dark. Yeah, and for at least another minute or two, he's gonna have even upgrades. Is he gonna collapse on top of this? Oh my god, he's gonna go in through the main choke point, not setting up a surround at all. Instead, he's just... Oh my god, he expected his opponent to know that he would come in with a surround, and because of that, he decided to go in through the choke point. That is so aggressive. Maru has got some of his splash damage units, though, on the right side. Once again, playing the rock, paper, scissors over here, hoping for the best. No Zerg would normally engage through that choke, but Dark trying to outsmart his opponent. Absolute mad lad that he is. Good splits here so far from Maru, but I think that that damage like 5 minutes ago may have just been a little bit too much. Because what exactly are you going to do against all of this? Dark is still outpacing you pretty hard. And rather than playing the long game, which he could certainly do, he could go into a hive and Lurker Den and 3-3 upgrades and just sit back passively. Dark's like, you know what? I can also just go across the map and kill you right now. And while there is definitely a little bit of a chance taken here, because there is of course a way for the Terran to defend against this. Turns out Maru does not have enough. The next map in this Best-of-7 series is Stargazers. We've got Dark going for a very, very fast third hatchery. This is one of the builds that Zergs have been quite fond of lately, where he's delaying his gases for a long while. He sends a couple of those drones over to mine out those small mineral fields a little bit earlier, and then eventually he's going to be able to get the third hatchery going. In the meantime, Maru decided to forgo the Reaper this time around, opting to go for Jimmy right from the get-go instead. So, not a whole lot of action here in the early game, but I don't think that's gonna stop Dark, right? I think our main question at this point is what aggression will Dark go for this time around? Because, yeah, even though that first game was a loss, the aggression has been working out really well for him. He's showing a wide variety when it comes to that aggression too, so I kind of like it. With a start like this, though, I would imagine that Dark wants to actually try and benefit from having such a quick third hatch, so I don't expect we're going to be seeing a whole lot of shenanigans just yet. Pretty sure what he wants to do is just saturate all 3 of these bases here as soon as possible and try to take minimum amounts of damage as possible as well. Or minimum amounts of damage as possible? Almost the correct sentence. Nice. I've casted a lot of long games on stargazers as well, specifically because of those openers that we see these guys going for right now. I mean, Maru has been keen to play the macro game, it seems, for the most part. Dark seems to be saying, yo, that's what I want to do in this game as well. So I would imagine that's probably what he's going to try and get done. That is a very quick Spore Crawler. Yep, anticipating a medevac drop. Liberator is a follow-up as well. I guess now we're gonna go for the 3rd command center at the pocket base. Beautiful control right here though by Dark. Having that Overlord in the right place at the right time. Units here at the front also dealt with easy peasy. Very tempting to send all of the queens over here, but nope, that's not what Dark needs. Keep in mind, this is still a gasless Zerg. It's not about until 420 into this game do we actually see Dark making any gases. That is incredibly greedy, but if you can pull it off, your mineral income is going to be through the roof. Okay. Well, you can see when the mules land, but overall, this is a fantastic position right now for Dark. He's taken very little damage. While maybe he should have been a little bit more on point with the droning here, because now he's making 4 overlords at once. All of that is pretty expensive. His tech is going to be a little bit slower, but I think he's going to feel pretty good, all things considered, about this start. 3rd hatchery, or Terran hatchery, 3rd command center, has been spotted as well. So that's all that Dark really needs to do. At the very least, yeah. I'm assuming that Overlord was in range as it popped. So, 5 minutes, 15 seconds is when Metabolic Boost starts up. Don't think that's what you normally want to do, but hey. If you can make it work, it's pretty great. 4th hatchery coming up here on the left side of the map too. There's the lair. Now finally additional gases. Okay. Yeah, so Dark is playing a good old macro game here. Are we going to go Baneling Nest? I would imagine so. Maybe not. Evo Chambers instead. Liberator trying to be annoying here, but also push back pretty easily. Okay, so nothing's really going Maru's way so far. Now, don't get me wrong, he's not in a bad spot here by any stretch, but he's just in a bit of a vulnerable position, you know? Like, he's not really done any damage to a super greedy Zerg. Because of that, he's, yeah, in a bit of a spicy spot. Okay, now this is nice. Every little bit of damage counts, and so far he's killed a little bit. Probably was hoping to do a little bit more than that, though. Do we not have a Baneling Nest yet? We do not. So that's a little bit scary. Double macro hatch in the main base too, by the way. I get a lot of Zerg players that I've done coaching with in the past that almost feel guilty whenever they're, you know, gonna put down a macro hatchery. Because you know, a lot of people only ever build a macro hatchery whenever they're flooding too many minerals, and they're like, oh man, how am I ever gonna spend this, you know, bank that I've got? And that's when they finally go for a macro hatch. There's a lot of guilt-induced macro hatchers on the StarCraft 2 ladder, okay? But I've seen Dark do this many times over the last year. Double macro hatchery in the main base just for the larva generation, so he can continuously produce army moving forward as well. The Zergling Baneling armies are very strong when it comes to, well, their mineral to gas cost, but they're very expensive when it comes to the larva. Okay, good position right there for Dark, but Maru did kill quite a few units. Okay, there's the hive. There's the baling nest. Researching the centrifugal hooks. Yeah, so this is a nice macro game here. With a slight advantage for Dark, I would say. 4th command center about halfway done here for Terran at this point. He's going to be going into the 2-2 research. He is ahead in that department compared to the Zerg, but only by a little bit. Big drops, though, happening all over. I wonder if it was about time to start mining out those mineral fields over here, because... yeah, I say that. You can't really drop here, right? Like, he wanted to go siege tanks over there and then the rest of the Terran army inside of the natural here, or the pocket base. This is the first time that Dark is really going around the map. He did not see that army moving through the southern corners, but... that does mean that maybe the natural is in a little bit of trouble. This Liberator is going to get shut down easy. Yep. Yeah, Dark is solid so far. Not really running into any problems. Okay, this is maybe a little bit preemptive. Yeah, decides to disengage. I think that's correct. Centrifugal hooks still not done. Once again, making a very large number of banelings on the other side of the map, and once again, delaying 2-2 upgrades. I don't know if he wants to go for another baneling bust, but it seems to me that Dark just wants to baneling bust after baneling bust after baneling bust after baneling bust today. It's a large amount of units. He did not go 2-2. He did go Adrenal Glands. Oh my god, the front door is wide open. Maybe that's actually intentional, because a lot of splash damage can be done here, but eventually the Marines that are protecting that ramp over here, or this wall, they get destroyed. Then again, SCVs are coming back home. Still though, oh my god, those Zerglings just murdered a mineral line in a heartbeat. There's a lot more army on the back of this too. A couple of siege tanks are not part of the rest of the force, but... okay, medevac coming in clutch. Ready to protect it. +2 armor. Is not gonna finish. Gets the knight. Viper's coming up. So this is right before all of those upgrades. Ultra Cavern coming up too. Man, I love watching Dark play. This guy's so good. So here's the battle report here in the end. I think that was a little bit of a counterattack as well, but... resources destroyed, relatively even, but 30 SCVs in total. Which is not the unit you want to lose. Okay. This defense over here, though, is going to get tricky. There's still a very large chunk of Terran attacking units. Not a lot of gas here available to morph Banes, but we're definitely going to need to spend some of it. Maybe he wants to wait for Ultras? 3 Banes is not going to do much. Okay, once again going in for the counter-attack instead. Dark is just a complete madman. I think he's given up this base to try and deal damage on the other side of the map instead and then defend with Ultralisks. Okay, well that expansion is in a lot of trouble. Terran is going to lose that low ground for sure. This is also where the +3 is researching, which is not really what you want to lose. All very, very painful. Armory also goes down, so that's also something you have to actually restart. That's the +3 tonight for sure. All at the cost of just a single hedge. That is a trait that's well worthwhile. Dark at this point, though, has not started up any Ultras yet. So I don't know why he didn't make any more Banes. A couple of siege tanks over here also get caught. Ay, 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 ay. Okay. 47 SCVs have gone down in this game so far. But Maru still has 60 of them. He's got a lot of mules, of course, too. Not a lot of creep here down south, so holding on to this base is going to be tricky. There's one of the Vipers going down. Parasitic Bomb, though, on one of the Medevacs, too. Good split there initially, but... oh my god, that's going to get very dangerous. Good Widowmine detonation, too. Eventually, he does split off the Medevacs that's being... the Medevacs, rather, that are being hurt by those Parasitic Bombs, but a lot of damage was done there regardless. Okay. Pretty good army against Ultras, though. So that is going quite well here for Maru, despite the fact that he hasn't seen an Ultralisk Cavern and he doesn't know about the Ultralisk transition. He's already got Liberators, he's also already got Marauders and Siege Tanks, he should be okay. Then again, Queens with Transfuses can get a lot of work done. Wall in the natural, still not recreated. So these Zerglings, okay, good hold position control right there as well. These Zerglings are getting a lot of work done. Nice little bit of stutter stepping there from Maru, who does once again grab the supply lead. Something in the main base ended up getting destroyed as well. Maybe that was Armory 2.0. Would not be surprised. Oh no, I think it may have been, I don't know, maybe just a supply depot? That could have just been a supply depot. Anyhow. Ultras at this point are well spotted. And this is not a game where Maru can really transition towards ghosts. He just does not have the money. Instead, he's going to be forced to just continue making all these units that he's making right now. A couple of Widow Mines here. Okay, get taken care of. Ooh, so close. I don't think this hatchery is going to live. Although, Dark thinks differently. A lot of these medeffects are super low, though. One more parasitic bomb is actually going to finish them off. Okay, that hatchery is indeed going to be cancelled. Zerg army doesn't look that significant. There is one Ultralisk. Oh. Ultralisk actually made out of paper. This is before chitinous plating and +3, though. So that explains why it took so much damage in such a short amount of time. Soon those upgrades will be done, and that's going to give the Ultra way more armor. Okay. Dark. Dark is just an absolute expert at constantly stabbing the opponent. Like, these guys are playing fast. This is about 9 buttons a second on average in the last 14 minutes. But he's constantly still trying to, yeah, stay one step ahead of his opponent. All right. Is there enough? Is there enough for Maru at home? Because Maru has been out into the map to defend against all of this. He does have the triple missile turret. But still, yeah, that is a trait that Dark is happy to take. Good response here, though, from Maru. At the same time, there is a big fight over here. Parasitic Bomb once again on those Medivacs. A lot of the Medivacs have now gone down and no control on the units over here. Finally, Ghosts are coming out. They're going to be fantastic, but that's a lot more SCVs finding their graves over here, too. 32 additional ones are going down. And Dark is just like your stereotypical Zerg infestation right now, right? Like, I'm pretty sure this is what the writers of the StarCraft storyline thought of when they thought of a race like the Zerg. Just endless wave of unit after unit after unit, and it almost feels a little bit desperate. Every time you do one thing, they hit you in 2 areas at once. Now, Maru still has a good army. As a matter of fact, right now, he's supply-wise ahead on the Zerg. One good Widow Mine hit can actually change the tide of this game. Everything's been pointing in the direction of Dark over the last couple of minutes, but... Oh, okay, okay. Those were not bad. Gonna try again, but that was a brilliant detonation with that Widow Mine. Ultralisks in the meantime going in for the counterattack. One of them, though, too thick. Oh, no. That's a lot of dead SCVs, and it's actually now triggering that entire Terran army to come back home. I don't think there's enough to really kill that planetary. No, not quite, but that certainly did buy a lot of time. And now suddenly the Zerg infestation has once again arrived on the other side of the map. Maru's economy is absolutely in shatters, but this is more playable than it looks. It's just that he was in a good spot when he was on this bridge, right? When he was starting to head on over in the direction of the Zerg's natural and therefore the main. Right now, Dark has alleviated that pressure on his own bases, and all he really needs to do right now is just max out. Get some of the creep spread going once again, maybe deny some of those bases, and he's gonna be in a pretty great spot. Overlord drops, once again ready to go. Missile turrets at this point have been destroyed. Yeah, this bridge has been the bane of Dark's existence here. Although the Baneling has been the bane of Maru's existence, I suppose. Getting a lot of damage done with those units. Don't know where the overlords went. Oh, there they are. 9 buttons a second is not fast enough. Game's hard, man. Okay. Dark now with a 64, 66. Oh my god. Don't do math in a video, Lowko. 66. Yeah. Anyway. He's got a good lead, is what I'm saying. Supply-wise, he is in a fantastic position, but don't want to get overzealous. This planetary here is in a little bit of trouble. It doesn't know it yet, but there's a hit squad right outside. Zergling drop once again in the main base, being as obnoxious as possible. Once again, drawing all the attention of the Terran player into the main base, forcing those units to load into medevacs, and now the rest of the Zerg armies are engaging at the outer bases here that are still mining for the Terran. He's going to be able to defend one of them, I believe. That being said, though, no. That base ended up going down up north. This base ended up going down south. And now suddenly, the Zerg armies met in the middle. And it turns out there's a Terran army collapsed in between the two of forces. And Maru, I think he's processing the loss right now. I mean, he's Maru with ghosts, right? Ghosts are really good units. But I don't think they're going to make up a 100 supply deficit. Plus, on top of that, a 80 something, okay, not quite 80, but a good amount of worker deficit is 78. There you go, 78. Yeah, I don't think these guys are gonna make up that difference. I want to believe, but it's not gonna happen. Tropical Sacrifice. Match point right here for Dark. Maru decided to go for a command center first on this map, which is certainly a little bit greedy. Then again, Tropical Sacrifice, it is a very nice map to defend on, so not really too surprised to see it either. Third hatchery is coming up right now. No unit on the other side of the map. No Reaper to try and keep those Zerglings at home, so Dark immediately sending out those bad boys once again. And it's actually a mech play, okay. So double factory already at this point in the game. Last time I've seen a second factory this early, it was Blue Flame Hellions. That is a build that we saw in the early days of StarCraft 2, before Zerg players figured out that Zerglings and Queens are good units. Against Blue Flame Hellion, though, you would need a little bit more. I wonder if that's the play here, because he did just go for a starport. I think the only reason why he would hide the factory over here is if you do want to go for something along those lines. But Overlord, not going to be able to scout that out, I don't think. Are we going to go tech lab, or are we just going to... Yeah, we are, okay. Thought maybe we're just going to produce a couple of Hellions out of this. So I think what you do is you research Infernal Pre-Igniter out of the tech lab. And then you hit when that upgrade finishes up. You can, of course, make it a Hellbat-based attack as well. Blue Flame Hellbats are very strong against a Zerg player who does not have Banelings or anything along those lines. But once again, Dark is just holding down the Zergling button. This is not the norm. You don't make 30 Zerglings at this point in the game. Dark is just an absolute maniac. Ay. Yeah, he's reading Maru like a book. If you're not gonna go for the standard Reaper, if you're not gonna go for the standard Hellions, you end up with less stuff than you normally would have at that point in the game. Guess who comes knocking? Dark immediately shows up. He's ready to punish. Okay. Spore Crawlers are going to be the name of the game right now here for Dark. Just trying to make sure he doesn't lose against anything here. But very good position here for the Zerg. He didn't see the second factory, so he doesn't know exactly what's happening here. But he did decide to go for a Roach Warren here regardless. Raven coming up as well. Okay, then. So no armory or anything like that, but this is still an army that can absolutely roast a mineral line in about 5 seconds. So, let's see. I always feel like he needs to as well. He needs to get some sort of damage done, because if he doesn't, if he got that upgrade and he got a whole lot of nothing out of it, that would be a problem. Roach Warren is finishing right now. It's not done yet. Yeah, he's trying to not fire. He doesn't want to spoil the surprise. Now he knows. Good surround, though. Zerglings are not supposed to be the natural predator of Blue Flame Hellions. But they did pretty damn good right there because Maru decided to drive so deep onto the creep and Lynx came in from every angle. Only 2 drones have gone down at this point. Okay, make it like... No, make it 2. Make it 2! No! That's rough. Roaches in the meantime, doing roachy things. There is a Banshee on the back of this, so that's gonna be quite nice. Cloaking is also coming up. I don't know where that Raven went. Oh, wait, was the Raven cancelled? Oh, it must have been cancelled, okay. I thought I saw a Raven on the production tab. Am I losing it? Pretty sure I saw a Raven on the production tab. Anyway, Siege Tank is out, Banshee is out. Wall of Heroes completed with a command center. Pretty risky little command center over here. Obviously though, mules are really nice. But this is what I was talking about earlier. Having that Banshee here is so good. Yeah, this is... Ooh, this is held. Maru decides to go for Hyperflight Rotors. This is one of the most infrequently upgraded things that we see in StarCraft 2. But I've seen Maru play it in the past. So, he's got Cloak already done on the Banshees. Hyperflight Rotors is a speed improvement for the Banshee. Not normally played very frequently, but very powerful if done in the right circumstance. And I think this may very well be one of them, or at the very least Maru thinks so. So, you know, I tend to agree with whatever Maru thinks. Smart man. Couple more sacrificial Hellions for no apparent reason. Don't like that too much. I take it back, maybe not that smart. No, but seriously, the real question right now is the Banshee situation. Hyperflight Rotors is super slow. It's expensive as well. So it's still going to be about a minute and a half or so until we'll probably see those Banshees in action. But there's going to be quite a few of them out at that point too. Zerg going for a Spire. Don't know if Dark realizes what he's playing against right now, but he's thinking, okay, there's at least 2 factories at this point in the game. It's a good chance that my opponent is going to be playing a mech style on the back of this. And even though Mutas may seem a little bit weird, Mutas are actually very good against Terran mech if controlled properly. Now this is good. If he can kill that, that would be huge. Oh, he wants to really bad. Yeah, he's gonna get it. Cancelled. Nice. Okay. Momentum is swinging in Maru's favor right now. If Dark has any say in the matter, though, no. Nidus Network immediately comes up. Those words didn't even leave my mouth yet. Anyways. Is there enough for the Terran player to defend against this sort of shenanigans? Honestly, I think so. If he is patrolling his bases correctly and he realizes what he's going up against. Yeah, as long as he can get a Cyclone right on top of that sort of shenanigans right away. So Dark actually just now sacrificing a Overseer. I don't know if that was intentional or not. I almost feel like it is, just to lull the opponent into a false sense of security. This is a very harassment-heavy army, though. So there is a chance that Maru is going to pull everything across the map. Except for maybe a couple of siege tanks and some reinforcing units. Swarm hosts. Really? Okay, we're going Swarm host Nidus. That was the idea. I thought maybe we were going to go Nidus in the back of the main base, but... Against this style, apparently what Mr. Dark wants to do is Swarm host. Roach Ravager Swarm host. Here come those speedy Banshees, though. Look how fast they are. They deal a lot of damage. Good transfuses right there, though, by the Zergs. Oh, my God. The Zergs? Plural? I mean, judging by the speed at which this man is playing, I wouldn't be surprised. Nidus Worm in a super conservative spot, all the way up north. There's a lot of Swarm hosts, by the way. Yeah, we're gonna up to 16. Bailing Nest, Hydra Den. We'll probably go for a Hive as well in just a moment. This is Dark trying to play a long macro game while being able to put pressure on his opponent all of the time. SCV is going to start building that in just a moment. That wave is no good. Yeah, I don't like that wave. Yeah, okay. Nah, the Swarmo is so far not really achieving a whole lot. Not sure exactly why he decided to pop up over there. Maybe he assumed that this base was already taken? He'll be happy to see that the command center is only just now landing. And you know what? Didn't think that was gonna do anything, but it in the end still ended up killing 8 SCVs, which is quite nice. Banshee does find the new Nidus Worm that's coming up down south, so that's good. Okay. I actually think that having speedy Banshees against someone who's playing Swarm Hosts is probably one of the best case scenarios. Because you can knock down those worms pretty easily, assuming you have a vision of where you need to be. Anyways, the Nidus Worm's not working out, so Dark decides to just walk the units straight through the center. That may work out a little bit better. A couple of them have already landed. SCVs are gonna be in some trouble, but overall, not too bad. These siege tanks, though, are super dead. Tank on the high ground also is gonna get picked off. Beautiful moves right there by Dark. 3 tanks for 1 wave of Locust. Considering those units are free, they're on cooldown. Not a bad trade. Not a bad trade at all. Okay. Hive is finished. Nidus Worm going up in the main base of the Terran player, and this is literally the only... Oh my god. Oh, alright, sensor tower just finished up. Okay, he sees it. He sees it right now, but that is a little bit later than ideally you want to. Anyways, at the same time, there is a push happening here with Roaches and Hydras and Zerglings and Banelings and Overseers and everything at the front. Well, now there's an infestation in the main base as well. Dark doing dark things. Playing the Swarm in their intended way. Using every tool at his disposal to try and slow down this Terran player. 4 SCVs have gone down in the main base. Banshees, though, have been tasked with, with cleaning this up. And a couple of the Swarm hosts were not actually back in the Worm in time. This choke point over here, though, is incredibly good for the Terran player. Planetary Fortress, so many tanks in the back. Yes, that is what we want to see right here from Maru. Excellent defense, shuts that down easy peasy. 1 command center ended up going down, but I think that is a worthwhile trade indeed. Another worm goes up in the main base. If you have a quick little look here at the battle report, you can see that the resources destroyed here are pretty sweet. Damage dealt overall, though. Interesting. But yeah, Banshee's here in the right place at the right time. That is no longer going to happen. Dark is still sitting at just 4 bases here. He doesn't have that much. Okay, he's gonna pop one of the worms right outside of the Terran's main base, but also this one. Maru's star senses are tingling, apparently. That one will also get shut down. Already going up north again. So that's where he assumes this is gonna go down next. Banshees being obnoxious. Vipers, though, are available, and Vipers are pretty great against Terran mech, as well as, well, against these Banshees with Parasitic Bomb. Okay, Lurkers are coming up. So the ultimate transition here from Dark is going to be Hydra Lurker Viper, which is very, very powerful. He's still getting value in as well here. Dark, that is. A couple of months ago, there was a time where Dark seemed to be struggling a little bit. Like, he didn't seem as dominant as he seems in this series so far. Like, don't get me wrong, he's not in a particularly amazing position in this game here, but, like, he seems stellar, right? Like, he seems really strong. Love the fact that he, yeah, seems to once again have found his mojo in the game. It's awesome. At least when you looked at the illegal egg rankings, he really plummeted down over the course of a couple of weeks. You're like, oh man, what's going on? Maybe he just didn't have time to play, or maybe he was going through some shit in real life. I don't know, but... Anyway. Pro gamers are human after all? No, I'm just kidding. Pro gamers aren't human. We all know that. Humans won't be able to hit this many buttons every second. There's the parasitic bomb I was talking about, though. No response here from our Terran player, and that is going to be the end for the majority of those Banshees. His difficult base, though, is the one that Maru has decided to go for. It's very far away. He's going to have to get a new base up and running, though, very soon, because he doesn't have that much money anymore. Dark, in the meantime, also taking 2 new expansions of his own. Planetary, not gonna happen. Command Center, also not gonna happen. Don't know where the Vipers are. Think that'd be nice to have in this battle, but they're probably back home trying to get some additional energy. Yep. Swarmos in the meantime, up north. One cheeky little Widow Mine, though, did spot them. Okay, so Maru's main plan at this point is to try to max out on Ghost Mech. The vast majority of his supply, though, at this point is caught up in a bunch of SCVs that aren't mining particularly efficiently. So he's losing workers left, right, and center, but he doesn't really care about those workers all too much. He's trying to go for that steamroll army, where you make one really big force and then you send everything towards the other side of the map. Super good option, but difficult to pull off reliably. Yeah, he's just a while away. He needs more eco. He needs more gas in particular in order to properly pull all of that off. So these gases over here at the bottom are super important. And Dark is well aware of that too. Okay, he's immediately running on over. Another base gets denied. Lurkers are now also available. I believe this is the first time that the Terran player has seen lurkers. Ooh, Ghost running a little bit too far forward. Now in the meantime, there's also a Locust wave once again right in the in between all of those bases. One Ghost just runs through its death. Most importantly though, this base is still up and running, and it seems to me that the Banshees that are still in the skies, 19 and 15 kills, they've at the very least helped out in cleaning up these units. And Dark is pushed back once more. Okay. High-level StarCraft is a truly beautiful thing. Love to see it. Okay. This is the first time that Maru is once again venturing out into the map a little bit. As soon as he secured that base, he feels comfortable enough to make some moves. Banshees are looking around. They just shut down one Nidus worm over here. They haven't yet shut down the worm in the top left, but they're gonna go after the one over here in the center instead. Main reason why Maru is being quite adventurous here is because of this base that he's now securing here in the center. Good fight once again here, though. Okay, another Nidus worm gets shut down. And, yeah, barely anything actually got killed there in total, but... The swarm hosts, I think their era is over. Yeah. Dark is going to keep some of them alive. Lurkers right now, though, have just simply wandered towards the 6 o'clock position. At the same time, there's a little bit of an attack over here at the bottom right corner of the map, too. 21 SCVs have gone down. Lurker over here just killing everything as well. Nidus Worm once again happening. Base over here will certainly get destroyed, but that's already 26 SCVs down the drain. Continuous harassment all over the map. These guys are everywhere. Okay. Dark ready, though, once again, to use that speed of the Zerg to his advantage, sending unit after unit in this direction. This choke point over here is pretty good, though, for Terran. Yeah, a lot of high HP units. Okay. I think if Dark could pick off those units in the bottom right, that would be fantastic. But honestly, he doesn't have that big of an army anymore. No, he actually got barely anything. Oh, okay. 2 sacrificial siege tanks somehow. Don't know why. Snipe. Beautiful. That's what we want to see from Maru. In the meantime, expansion down south in a little bit of trouble, but a couple of blue flame hellbats will be able to get rid of that. A couple of blinding clouds here now on the side of the Zerg as well. Queens are pulled away from their hatcheries to try and defend against this Terran push. Maru, though, creating a chokehold. There it is. And that brings us to the final game of this Best-of-7 series. It all comes down to this game right here on Inside and Out. It's gonna be a Reaper opener here from Maru, very standard. It's gonna be a triple hedge start here from Dark, also very standard. Nothing out of the ordinary, and honestly, I'm not really expecting anything crazy here either. The time for playing is in the past. Apparently what we're doing now is serious business. Okay. I wonder if it's gonna be a Liberator this time or if it's gonna be a Banshee. I really feel like a Liberator. Oh, you know what? Never mind. The time for the playing is not in the... None of that is the case. Roach Warren. Coming up for the Zerg. Dark just cannot stop cheesing. And I kind of like it. I'm not gonna lie. I like it. Yeah, it's fun to watch. Okay. Only a single gas, but he's been leaving the drones in there. Plus, most importantly, he did not actually go metabolic boost at all. So this is Dark saying, yo, I am gonna win this game in the next couple minutes. If you don't like it, that's your fault. I don't care about your opinion. Anyways, so the roaches are coming up already. Maru has been trying to scout, but he hasn't seen much. Just a couple queens, couple of zerglings. He hasn't seen a roach warren or anything like that. Tech lab is available. Oh, it's gonna be Viking again. Okay. No Banshee. No Banshee. So these roaches should probably be able to get some work done. So this is gonna be about 9 roaches, and I think we'll probably see him going back towards droning after these roaches. You don't see the 9 roach opener very much anymore these days, but it can certainly pack a punch if the units show up uncontested. And right now, Maru is scouting the right side of the map. Oh no. So now he's gonna see the lack of workers here. That should tell him basically anything that he needs to know. He kills 1 drone on his way out, but there's not enough. There's not a whole lot available anyways for Maru right now. Droning on the back of this is Dark, so it's not an all-in, but it's certainly supposed to deal a lot of damage. Banshee would have been out if he decided to go for it. Just wanted to let you know that part. But there's a whole lot of nothing right now. Okay. Hellions dealing as much splash damage as possible. Good micro here. Very nice micro here from Maru. Keeping the units as far back as possible. He's even already making SCVs right here on the low ground. The Ravager gets denied. Maru. Really? That looked so bad for you, mate. What did you just do? Maru, what did you just do? Huh? I swear to God, when those roaches showed up, he had like 3 Hellions and a Marine and a Viking. Okay. Quite a few units ended up going down there in the end, though. But it's not like Zerg committed that much either. He's now forced to make some more roaches for the base defense because there's still no metabolic boost here. Dark has caught up in that worker count, so that's quite nice, but that defense was actually much better than I expected it to be. Maybe that's the reason why we don't really see the 9 roach opener that much anymore. Viking right now clearing the path. Although it sees that there's units on the perimeter everywhere, so I don't expect this little Hellion drop to get too much damage done. I still think this is a very playable spot right now for Dark, by the way. Like, even though that push wasn't as successful as I expected it to be, creep spread is definitely, yeah, not as good as we'd like to see it at this point in the game. Still definitely very playable. Maybe these Hellions are going to be able to get some work in. 3 Hellions is perfect for one-shotting those workers. Okay, good pickup. Beautiful pickup. Once again, dropping them out right away. Yeah. Okay, 6 drones for 3 Hellions is a one-on-one trade. I guess the Hellions are slightly less important than the drones at this point, so not the end of the world, though. Okay. Lair coming up, metabolic boost coming up. I guess 1-1 will start researching here in just a moment as well. Dark has already got the resources for it. But you can see all of this is a little bit awkward now. Right, for the Zerg's progression here, nothing is as clean as you'd like it to be. And that's just because of that roach opener you went for. It's hard to play a clean game after that. In the meantime, though, Maru playing a normal game, or at least trying to. He's going 1-1 upgrades here. He's going for the armory right now as well, so he can go straight into 2-2. He'll be able to finish up his stim pack and combat shields and all that. He's already got that done, actually. And, yeah, he should be able to play a pretty comfortable game right now moving forward after getting messed with in the early game. Zerg instead is going to be playing a Roach Hydra army. Roach Hydra, together with an infestation pit. If anyone is comfortable, though, playing these styles, it's definitely Mr. Dark. He's very good at playing this variety of builds. And even though it feels a little bit strange to me. Yeah, okay. No, that's too greedy. Yeah, that's too greedy. Feels a little bit strange to me. It works out quite well for him here so far. There's the Hive coming up together with the Lurker Den, so... yeah, Roaches and Zerglings as a stepping stone towards Hydras and eventually Lurkers. Not bad at all. This is what I was talking about earlier. 2 random infestors. He used to play it back then as well when he used to play Roach Ravager. So maybe this is something he does when he plays Roach Ravager only. Those two infestors will just sort of sit there and just accumulate energy, and then every once in a while they'll be able to land a killer fungal growth. And most of the time, Zergs, they're not playing that, right? So Maru may very well not expect an infestor here. I've seen fungal growths that just straight up end the game. Made me wonder why not everybody plays that, but obviously it's a gas investment. Anyhow. Maru going for his own 4th command center right now. Maybe a little bit later than we ideally like to see it, but he got one hell of an army. This is an army that can certainly pack a punch. But imagine one fungal growth right over there in the middle of that force. Infestors are going to need a little bit more energy, but it's happening here pretty soon. And if the Terran is going to make a little field trip around the base, around the sides of the map, he's not going to have enough. Okay, there we go. 75 energy for fungal growth, now available. And Maru has not seen a single infestor just yet. Very dangerous. If the infestors come in from the side, they're going to have to move, though. If the infestors come in from the side, they can absolutely murder everything. Okay, no, they decide to come in from the front instead. Fungal growth, boof! That's what I'm talking about, man. Why do we not see every Zerg playing 2 blind infestors as soon as they see... Oh my god. Yeah, I've seen that happen in like a dozen Dark games now. And it seems like a no-brainer. It seems like such a no-brainer. Yet all the other top-level Zergs do not just blindly make 2 infestors. Those infestors just cleaned that fight up easy peasy. Maru now plummeting in supply. Lurkers are going to happen on the back of this. So obviously the main reason why players don't like doing it is because it slows down the lurker transition. Because you got to spend your resources. But my god, does that seem worthwhile. And obviously the infestors are still here. The infestors are got to just accumulate energy once more. They're just sitting on a control group somewhere on the keyboard of Dark. And every once in a while I'll be able to use them. So I used to do the same thing with Vipers too. Like as soon as he got to a hive, he would just make like 2 Vipers. 2 Vipers, 2 infestors. Good units to have around, it seems. Oh, well, okay. Thank you for making me look smart, Dark. Even though I was dumb and I didn't actually look at the production tab earlier. Reinforcing Zerg units are trying to deal with that army on the other side of the map. Looks like they have been pushed back. Now lurkers are available. One of them is going to get picked off, okay. There's a fungal, or what's it called? A abduction right there on one of those siege tanks. Seismic spines, that's the ranged upgrade, is done. Suddenly those lurkers can shoot away a little bit further, but not far away enough just yet, at least, to hit those units here on the low ground. Dark, though, smelling blood right now. This has got to be very careful for him, or he needs to be very careful right now, because pushing down towards that concave may not be the way to go. Very nice corrosive bowels as well. Not quite enough yet to kill that Liberator, and I think that Maru is going to be able to deflect this for now. Yeah, nicely done. In the meantime, Dark expanding towards the 3 o'clock position, so he's not putting all of his eggs in one basket, just trying his very best to continuously move forward in this game. Is there enough, though, for the Terran to break through this? Liberator does go down. He decides to stim into those lurker spines. I think he's going to be able to clean this up, but at the cost of what? That is the majority of his army, and he doesn't even clean all of the lurkers up just yet. Those spines, oh my god, dealing so much damage. Siege tank over here goes down as well. Dark suddenly appeared on the other side of the map. And this is all leverage from those 2 fungal growths, right? I don't want to sell you on the fungal growths any more than I've already done, but like, it's all leverage from those fungal growths. The only reason why all of this happened. Anyway. Good amount of damage done. Now suddenly this planetary is going to be in a little bit of trouble, or at the very least the SCVs gathering the resources and bringing them back to that planetary fortress. That's more SCVs going down. And how exactly is Maru going to break this? Spoiler alert, I don't think he will. Like, maybe eventually he will, but this is a disaster for him right now. He's trying his very best, but this is so painful. All of the SCVs are getting destroyed. You can try and come from the other angle, but if you don't have a reliable counter against lurkers yet, that's a problem. Infestors, by the way, they got killed, but they've already done their duties. Fungal growths would have been nice here, but abductions should be pretty good as well. Okay. He's looking to clean it up, but I think it's all a little bit desperate. And there it is. Dark is indeed the winner of the AfreecaTV Champions Cup as he wins over Maru 4-3. Fantastic series. I hope you enjoyed watching this. Hey, if you made it all the way until the end of this video, please take the 1 second that it takes to hit the like button down below. It really does help. If you enjoyed watching this, hit the subscribe button so you get notified as soon as future videos go live. But for now, have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to smile, and I'll see you once again in the next one.